for those answers. The next question, very straightforward, had it several times. What's your position on the 2-child benefit cap? Paul, you're the starter, then Sharma, Ian, Josh and Faisal. Okay, for those in the audience as well, 2-child benefit cap is the restraint on child tax. Sorry. The 2-child benefit cap is the restraint on child tax credit and universal credit to the first 2 children. Currently, I think, at £3,455 per child.
What do you mean, the cap in the amount you can have? Sorry, I've not had children for a long time. I mean, I've grown up and I wasn't around when I had kids.
So it's capped. There is no benefit.
Oh, there's no benefit at all? Beyond 2 children? Oh, right. Well, I wouldn't know because I've only had 2 children. Sorry. Honesty. That's what we believe in, honesty.
This is, I think for me, as a teacher, as a mother, the hardest of all questions, really, particularly as a Labour politician. I would have loved to say that in our manifesto we would be looking at the 2-child benefit cap and do the work that Gordon Brown's talking about how we can support child poverty. But we have to make choices, and at the moment there's a huge amount of pensioner poverty. Pensioners are struggling to make ends meet, and we have to think about where we can prioritise. And right now, we have to get their hospital appointments down. There are too many pensioners who are struggling to get healthcare needs, and we have to think about that. And we have policies that will look at how we can support children, early breakfast clubs, childcare policies. I would wish to say that on day one of a Labour government we can do this, but I can promise you one thing: as a child, as a mother, as a teacher, I will do all I can to alleviate poverty in our children. But we are looking at things that sustaining things long term, how we can make a sustainable economy to support support our families, bringing energy bills down, better housing, more housing, cheaper housing. It's a big picture rather than just one benefit rule, but I would love to say this to you here and now that we could do this. But the reality is we can't. This is after 14 years of hollowing out our public sector. We have to rebuild somewhere. And it's a hard choice, and I wish I could say something different to you tonight, but I can't. And this is a reality of the Labour government, that we have to make some really, really hard choices.
The original policy was meant to be an additional child, not 2 children. I've since the period of that time after I resigned had long conversations with Gordon Brown over this. We met and discussed it when he was in Parliament, when he left. I've come to the very strong view now that it was about encouraging people to go into work at the time, but I think it's time that we rethought this, and frankly, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of getting rid of it now, and I've told the government that. Thank you.
So, this is why we need different voices. We're going to get a huge majority of Labour government next week. And look, I'm one of 3. We spent part of our childhood on benefits. That would have really affected my family. There's 300,000 children that would be brought out of poverty if we just made this one move. How can we say there's a choice? Listen, in general, looking over the Labour manifesto, there's lots of good stuff in there. Of course, I was a Labour candidate until a few weeks ago. There's lots I agree with. But the scale of the change we need is just not represented. We've spent the last 14 years, due to the Conservative government, seeing austerity and cuts and everything in every part of life fall apart. Child poverty increase, the NHS waiting list, all the rest of it. And when you look at the money attached to the Labour manifesto, it's trivial. Those are not my words, at Institute for Fiscal Studies. And let me just give you a sense of that. There's about 7 billion that they're saying they're going to spend. The backlog alone in the NHS is 12 billion, right? And this is why we need different voices. We need people that are going to push. We need economists to understand. Voice I can be, because too often within the party, and I know this, you're told to be quiet and not push these things and say that it's a hard choice, when actually these are investments that will pay off over the long term, and we need those voices to be critical and oppositional in the next 4 to 5 years as the next government comes in. Thank you.
This is an area, I think, where the Labour manifesto really shows its lack of ambition. The nature of the state, the role of the state, is to provide for people in times when they need it. We pay our taxes, and that comes back to us in situations where we need it, where we need a little bit of extra flex, where we need a little bit of extra help. The Liberal Democrats' commitment is day one to get rid of the two-child cap, and actually we'd go further than that. We're going to get rid of the benefits cap altogether. There will be no limit on how much can be claimed on benefits as long as you are eligible for those benefits. If you paid in those taxes, you're entitled to those benefits. There should not be a ceiling, and that's a hard commitment.